Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 135 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, who's pulling little men out of the ground today with me. I got nothing.
You shut the hell up.
That's valid. That's fair.
You did give us an order, and you already screwed it up. I'm Jeff. I'm from the You Hate to See It podcast.
I'm Nick, and I randomly show up on the You Hate to See It podcast. I'm never invited. I just kind of appear.
Which I have been on twice so far on your guys' show.
And it's always great to have you.
And you both have been on the show. Jeff, last time you were on for Alan Wake, which is almost a year ago at this point, and Nick was on for the only Green Arrow comic I'll probably ever read earlier, I think last year too.
Honestly, that is probably more than enough, really, standalone Green Arrow to read. Like, it's more than enough. Green Arrow, he really should just stick to ensembles.
Oh yeah, no. Ever since then I read that one, I enjoyed it, and I looked up like that was like the number one Green Arrow comic to read. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to read any mothers. We
need to get together and do another one. Those are always fun. I love the random ass comics you find for me to read that I would never read otherwise.
Oh, and ever since I was on your guys' show and Adam was talking about that Robin Hood comic, I keep seeing ads for it ever since then.
Oh, Robin Hood. If you ever do a Robin Hood, have me and Adam on. Adam and I will love to do Robin Hood. It is so good.
I keep seeing ads for that weird ass comic, and every time I'm like,
it's so good.
Every single, all the time, ever since that conversation that long time ago, I get ads. For those that don't know, it's not Robin Hood like you would think of. It's a sexy version of Robin Hood.
It's still really good. It's by Zenoscope. It's not as bad as you think it sounds.
No, actually way better than you think, but nah. And before we get too far, I do want to mention that we have a Patreon now. So for a little $1, you can go vote in our Patreon poll this month, which is about anime. We have 4 different animes that we were choosing from. You get to decide which one we cover for pilot test. We got Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, and 2 others that I can't remember the name.
Well, let's hope those 2 don't win.
No, well, there be... Yeah, probably not, because I don't think they will anyway. They're random. But yeah, there are 2 other ones to go check that I cannot find. Oh yeah, Akuma no Riddle and Case Closed. So definitely go check out the Patreon for a little $1. You can vote in our monthly poll. All right, and I should introduce what I got you 2 guys to join with me to talk about. We are going to be covering Pikmin 2 for GameCube that came out back in 2004.
Yeah, Ultimate Gardening Simulator.
Yeah, okay.
This came out about 2 days after I gained sentience as a human being.
Oh.
So I did not play it on release.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Me either. I've never played it until 2 months ago when I was asked to play it.
My apologies. My condolences for making you play this shit.
If there's any consolation, when I was 7, one of my friends was like, yeah, Pikmin's so fun. It's the greatest game ever. And I'm like, yeah. I thought he was talking about Pac-Man, and I started describing Pac-Man. And then I got ridiculed for the rest of my life. I think that was like the start of it. And now I do a podcast where it's essentially the same stuff.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Setting up the emulator to play this game took me so fucking long. I had to set up like a whole, my controller. I had to go through and set each specific button, and then I get into the game and I forget. Obviously, it's not going to have the symbols of a PS4 controller, and it's like press A. I was like, oh fuck, where was the A button on a GameCube controller?
So last night Jeff's like, hey, do you think you could watch or play through Pikmin by Thursday? And I'm like, I could try. And then this morning he's like, hey, can you record Pikmin tonight? And I'm like, I mean, sure. It's going to be going off of some interesting memories, but we'll go for it.
So the reason why I picked Pikmin 2 on the show, because I played Pikmin 1, over a year ago at this point, and I loved Pikmin 1. So I was so excited to play this game, but that excitement went right out the window pretty quickly. So for those that don't know, the thing about Pikmin is you're a little midget guy, essentially. You're a little guy from some planet where he's tiny as hell. And this game takes place right after the first Pikmin ends, where he crashes on Earth, but they never tell you it's Earth in the first game. They really keep it, they don't let you know, but you can kind of think, okay, this might be Earth. In this game, they completely tell you it's Earth, because the whole point of it is the game starts off where he comes back to his planet after being gone for however long, because he crash landed on Earth. and almost died and almost ran out of life support. And he comes back. He brings a gift for his son, which ends up dropping. And a computer on this other guy on the spaceship with the company you work for scans and go, hey, this is worth money, and takes your son's gift that you brought and risked your life for, and takes it away from you.
Wasn't it like a
bottle cap?
Bottle cap.
Bottle cap.
I mean, so the only conclusion I can bring from that is essentially Pikmin takes place in the Fallout universe, where bottle caps are also incredibly valuable. That's the only like 2 and 2 I can bring together.
I mean, it is a post-apocalyptic game if you think about it, because there's nothing living on this planet on Earth that you're on. Just these weird animal life that have, that's all that's there.
Cool. So it's now official canon. Pikmin takes place in the same universe as Fallout. Cool. I'm glad we can all agree on it. No more discussion needed.
And the whole
don't at me.
And the whole thing is because the company that you work for is under debt because the guy, while you were gone on the planet, the other guy that works for the company is an idiot, and had a whole bunch of carrots that he was supposed to transport, and he got them all eaten. Which you find out if you beat the game 100% and do everything, you find out that he ate the carrots himself.
So he puts himself. So this is news to me, and I hate the game even more now.
That's what you find out. The whole thing was, and then. So, the big gimmick of this game is you go back to Earth, but because in the first game, you only had 30 days to do everything you had to do. If you wait past 30 days, the game just ended. And depending on how many parts you collected, he would survive or he would just die. And the game's over. This game, you have unlimited days. Your day cycles, there still is a day cycle, so there's still you only have X amount of time in a day. But that doesn't mean anything when you go in caves, which is this whole game gimmick is caves.
It's a weird dungeon crawl-esque type thing.
I don't like dungeon crawlers, I found out real fast. Over this past week.
I'm not a big dungeon crawler roguelite person either. There's just I don't know. This is just not me.
I do love me some roguelite, but this is not it.
So Jeff, as a guy who had no idea what Pikmin was before you came into this, what was your initial thoughts of this game?
So when you asked if I would do Pikmin 2, I obviously Googled Pikmin 2, and from the pictures all I saw was flowers, and I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those really cool, like, I just casually can just lean back and play. There's not really a story. This is going to be kind of dope. And then it, in fact, had a story, and it's not great. And the reason I really didn't like the game was the immediate product placement right off the bat.
that had to have been one of the first games that was that heavy on it, right? Or, I mean, other than, like, I guess there were the Pepsi games on the PS1. That was a thing, right?
Yes.
Am I having a fever trip?
Pepsi Man definitely a thing.
That was a thing? Okay.
I can't remember if there are games for Pepsi Man, but Pepsi Man definitely is a thing.
I might be living some weird fever dream that only I had.
I mean, there is a Skittles game called Darkened Sky, which is
I don't believe you, Mike. GameCube. I don't believe you. Why would you lie to me like this? There's no way.
I own it. I have it right next to me.
God, no.
Right there, Darkened Sky. I can't see it because I'm in the dark, but it's a game all about Skittles. It doesn't show on here, but you collect Skittles.
God? Yep. That's terrifying, actually.
Yeah, but my hopes were crushed very fast in this game of it being fun and relaxing or cool.
Was it just anxiety driven?
No, it was just lame and not great.
The first one really drives anxiety because, like, if you have a day where you didn't accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, you'll feel like, oh god, I'm running out of time. In this game, since you have unlimited days and you just get stupid letters at the end of each day where the guy's like, I need money, make more money for me, and they're coming for me, and that's all it doesn't really matter. But the story's stupid. The whole thing is you're trying to pay off a 10,000 Pogo debt. That's all you're trying to do.
Louis is the best character.
It's not even your company, is it?
No.
You just work for them.
Yeah.
It's like you go to work and the guy's like, hey, you know what? We're out of money, so we're going to make you work extra hard, and we're not going to pay you anything else or pay you at all, but you need to go make us money so we can pay back our debt.
Damn. Sounds like Jeff's job.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. Thought I'd bring it all home.
I mean, it's a dumb story. I mean, the story's not why you're playing this game. The whole idea is that you're controlling little armies of little plant men.
Are you telling me that there isn't like an Oscar-worthy story behind that entire game premise itself?
No.
No?
The first one is fine. You're collecting parts to fix your ship. In this one, you're just paying off a debt. Not the same.
So the first one is Martian. The second one is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's kind of what I'm getting down here. Is that a decent comparison?
Your comparisons are wild today.
Yeah,
Why can't you do this? Why can't you do this on our podcast? Like, actually contribute something.
No, I was invited to this one. On that one, I just show up. Maybe if you guys invited me to a podcast at some point, I would actually contribute.
I mean, like, when you first show up, they take your ship and sell your ship. The collection agency come, but they leave the bigger ship, which I didn't understand.
Also, when they sold it, wasn't only like 100. Like, it's not worth a lot. Yeah,
it's just the treasure, because for the garbage that you find is worth a lot of money to them that you're getting from this planet.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Some of the fucking items that sell for higher than other items pisses me off.
So in the video I watched, just to remind myself of whatever the hell this game was a Vlasic pickle lid, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Vlasic pickles. I mean, I might have seen the
M&M. Do you want to go through the product placement?
Sure.
Placement?
Yeah, let's
first thing you find on the planet, Duracell battery.
Yep.
Second thing,
arguably
7-Up bottle cap.
Third best battery.
Third best. What, Energizer and...
It's just weird, and it's just too much of it. Like, the fact that the game starts off with you finding a Duracell battery, it's like you know exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if this game was 100% pure profit, the sales for Nintendo, because they essentially made the game off of the product placement money. So this was just a clean couple $1 million just for free because it was made with product placement money.
I can't believe that. I mean, it's not like you get a chapstick. So yeah, there's a decent amount of product placement though.
Yeah, chapstick. You got CarMax. You have the Vlasic.
Well, I guess gaming was still like a new thing then. So would people have thought that it would hit the crowd it did with that?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, there's also the deviled ham type containers or Red Devil.
There's also like a tuna can. I can't remember the brand because I don't know tuna brands other than Chicken of the Sea or whatever the fuck that is.
There's a Skippy container too with one of the treasures. Yeah. Wow. I didn't see a lot of these because I didn't give a shit for treasure. Well, my whole goal was just get what you had to do, pay off the debt. Like, I was never going to go for it because the whole idea, there's so many different caves. All these caves have so much treasure. There's so many things you can get throughout this game to 100% it, but there was no way that was ever going to happen.
So we played very differently because I went for every piece of treasure so I could stop playing the game sooner.
I did at first, but I got to a point when I stopped, like, it wasn't happening anymore.
There's one cave I got like 1,500 and I was like, this is going to be a fucking breeze.
I would not have enjoyed playing this game. I am the complete opposite of a treasure of like 100%er. I play the game. I like find the stuff I want to find, and then I go on with my day. Like I'm not a 100%er at all.
That's the thing. You can play this game so differently. Like the way that I was playing it, when I first started, I was trying to go through the world, find stuff, go in the first couple caves, do the caves, finish them up. But it didn't take long before the game started to kick my ass. Because like one thing I like about Pikmin 1 that I didn't like about this game is that you have your Pikmin, and when you're on the surface, depending on when your Pikmin goes and grabs a treasure or an enemy that they kill, they turn them into more Pikmin. Except for the new types of Pikmin, the white Pikmin and the purple Pikmin don't make more that way. And if you're in a cave, which you spend majority of your time in caves, you don't get new Pikmin out of it. You just turn it into treasure, which just makes money, but very, very little money. Like, example, a treasure might be worth 100 on an average, where if you get an enemy you kill, you got 2 coins. Woo, 2 coins.
So this game came out in 2000. So that was GameCube, right? Like that was smack dab in the middle of GameCube, and then it came out later on the Wii U, right?
Yes, it came out on the Wii U, but it never came out on the Switch, which is really stupid because people would buy this on the Switch.
Did it come out on the Wii?
Yes, it also came out on the Wii and the Wii U.
Came out on the Wii.
The Wii is
came out on the Wii U.
Yes, Wii U the digital virtual console on the Wii U.
It's wild.
I mean, it's basically it'll basically be out for the Switch when the Steam Deck thing comes out anyways, and you just put a GameCube emulator on it. So.
I'm so excited for that Steam Deck just because I want to emulate crap.
I've thought about putting an emulator on my computer, and then I realized that just seems like a lot of work, and like I already am really bad at finishing games, so
yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I have multiple now.
But so in this game, you have the same Pikmin from the first game, the red, the blue, the yellow, except they changed up. The red are the same. They're the Pikmin you start with, and they're immune to fire. Blue are the same. They can go in the water. The only Pikmin that can go in the water. Yellow are different because in the first game, the yellow, they fly farther what they do in this game, but in yellow, or in the Pikmin 1, yellow Pikmin are able to move bomb rocks, which thank God are not something you have to carry in this game and use against enemies because that sucked. But instead, now they're immune to electricity. And this game decided that they're going to put electricity in a lot of different places and make you have to deal with that shit. And then the two new Pikmin are the purple Pikmin, which are just fat Pikmin. Essentially, they're big and heavy. And I didn't realize that till the guy told me because like when you throw them, when you see them the first time, they do look like little sumo thing. They bump and they do their feet, and I'm just like, what the fuck? But yeah, they're heavy. They're big, fat, heavy Pikmin that can carry heavier items, and they can also weigh down enemies. And then the white Pikmin, which are immune to poison, which because now we have poison, and are also, if someone eats them, they get sick and they do a decent amount of damage to them.
Well, every dungeon, quote unquote, or cave, whatever you want to call it, has different elements in it. Some of them have all of them. Some of them only have like electricity. It's yeah,
that's
it's
what
there.
Broke me. It was having to deal with all those different hazards. Because the thing about a dungeon is in this game, normally in this game, you're traveling around the open map. You have X amount of time in your day. So if things go bad, you can always run and get more Pikmin if Pikmin start dying. But when you're in a cave, you only bring 100 Pikmin. You don't get any more Pikmin. That's all you have. That's all you're going to get. And you have to go through these dungeons, which are randomly generated. Woohoo! And range anywhere from like 4 floors for some up to 13 or 14 floors for the final one. And
didn't they add
maybe a pain.
boss fights to the caves too?
Yeah.
Yes.
The final floor.
Mm-hmm. And some of the bosses are from the first game. Some are new. Like the first boss in this game that you're most likely going to run into is a giant caterpillar, which didn't go so well the first time. I saw him. You see this big fat slug in this cave, and I threw a bunch of my Pikmin on him, and he shook, and I'm just letting my Pikmin do their thing. And then he rolled, and I watched all my Pikmin, all 100, get eradicated.
Yeah, that's what my fighting style in that game was. Chuck every Pikmin I have at the enemy.
Do they like just beat his ass like it's in a back alley, or do they do damage on hit?
So they do it on hit, and then they'll start beating the shit out of it. Like,
okay.
So you'll throw it, it'll bounce off of them, they'll fall on the ground, but that did damage, and then they get up and they just start beating the hell out of it with their little arms.
You kill monsters effectively by throwing Pikmin on an enemy, and they'll just start, like he's saying, just start socking them. Just beat them for a while.
And that's what I did for almost every boss except for this one.
Yeah, this one has a tell where when he shakes, you have to run, and I had to run, but I had to look at a guide, and it was a weird awakening for my first boss in this game where I beaten Pikmin 1, so I knew what to expect, and then that happened. I'm like, oh, this game's not going to be as friendly, I see. I mean, luckily I had save state, so it didn't matter, but I was not amused.
I
drop treasure.
Yeah, and you also get stuff for each boss that you beat, like you get stuff that enhances your characters.
They look like toy robot pieces. Like they make you like immune to fire or something.
That was cool, but trying to beat these bosses was just was hard as hell. Yeah. I mean, I didn't beat that many of the bosses in this game. I skipped a lot because I just couldn't. I would go through a cave to a certain point, get what I could, and then just leave. Because in caves, usually right before the final level of a cave, there will be a geyser that will spit you out. And supposedly, per the internet, you can, when you go back to that cave, you can go back to the floor that you left on. But when I tried it, it put me back at floor 1, and I said, screw it, and left. But did you try it, Jeff?
No, so by the time I would get there, I'd have like 20 Pikmin left because I suck. And I would just run by them and leave.
Okay.
Which you can do. That's what I learned. I was like, oh, so the bosses aren't like have to be killed.
I'm very disappointed. I'm really disappointed in the lack of full send mentality there, Jeff. Really disappointed. That's the second time. I'm not even drinking. I'm just tired.
Yeah, if you want to talk smack, I mean, come back when you learn how words work.
Yeah, no, this is why I don't do this on the podcast.
No, it just like it like the boss fights were just like I did that boss. I did the second boss, which is a bird that comes out of the ground.
I always fought the bird one because it's super easy.
Yeah, you just throw Pikmin on his face. Yeah. He is from the first game.
Oh, okay.
In the first game, you fight 3 of them at one time at one point, though.
Oh, that was fuck fun. That.
Yeah, a lot of Pikmin got eaten, and then when I did that back then, but
see the boss fights, they also just seemed kind of like lackluster too when you did them.
They weren't as good in this game. Like one of the bosses that you fight, the third boss, depending on if you do the dungeon in the order that you're supposed that considering easy to hardest, is called Empress Ball. I think it's Empress Ballbacks, or maybe I'm wrong in the name, but no, Emperor Ballbacks. It is actually the enemy, the final boss of the first game.
Oh,
it's a pushover in this game.
I don't know. Like there wasn't any strategy needed, like for any of the fights in this game. Really, it was just chuck Pikmin at it and then walk away. Like.
Yeah, but chuck certain Pikmin at him. Like when you fight the spider boss, you have to use only yellow Pikmin to get on his head. Otherwise, they won't reach.
Yeah, but it's not like that's super hard to do. You just switch to your yellow ones and like I don't know. It's not like, oh hey, go over here and throw some of your Pikmin at like this wall or something, and they'll break out like a piece of something. And you use your purple ones, and they'll bring it and like throw it at it or something. I don't know.
That's the
adding
first
some
game.
Flavor. Was it
With bomb rocks?
Yeah, see, like adding some sort of flavor, but just yeeting your Pikmin at bosses as if they're any other enemy, they just have slightly more health is a little lame to me.
Yeah, I wasn't, and they repeat the bosses too later on in the game.
Yeah,
like I fought the second bird.
I know there are 3 Pikmin. Is it just kind of universally decided that 2 is the worst, or is like 3 god awful for some reason? I don't know.
No, I think 2 is the worst. 3, from what I was reading about 3, they took the cave system, but the caves are not like there's 14 caves in this game. They didn't do that. The caves will have a boss at it, but it's like part of story reasons, or you get something for doing it. It's much different, and they also has a time limit in the game where you only have 100 days to do the game, where you have plenty of time, but you still have a limit. Where in this game, you could just sit and screw around any day you want. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So I think there also is a 4th Pikmin game called Hey Pikmin for Nintendo DS, which is a 2D side scroller.
It's one of my least favorite parts of like mechanics of this game is when your Pikmin would build a bridge, because that I felt like took for fucking ever. Matter how many Pikmin you threw at it.
Did you ever have an enemy take away your bridge after you built it?
No, I didn't know that was a possibility.
I didn't either, but I would like go to I built a bridge and then I would leave and go to other places, then come back, and days had passed in the game, and all of a sudden my bridge wouldn't be there. I'm like, what the hell? And I saw enemies go in there and destroying my bridge. They can do it in this game.
What is this game? I think it's what Nick said. I think this game was made strictly for product placement. Like,
and then like if it was product placement, and if they happen to make money off of sales, great. Fantastic.
Did you ever feed the white Pikmin to an enemy just to poison them?
No, I didn't know that was the thing. I played this game very straight up, like just throw Pikmin at stuff, because I was, after like an hour playing, I was like, this is not fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. The first one I really enjoyed, so I was really excited for this game, but it just didn't. The cave system what broke me, because also the caves are random. Every level you go into is random. It's randomly generated. This
game seems very, in certain areas, very groundbreaking and very intuitive, but like with like they had the idea, but in the execution of the idea, they just went, nah, we don't need to put any effort into that. That we'll just rip that from the first game.
Let's make sure it takes at least a minute to build a bridge across some water. That's a must. That's like number 3 on the list.
It's like they leaned too much into the RNG of like just remaking levels and stuff.
Oh, and this game actually got like really good reviews too.
Well, they were in 2004. Like they didn't know what they were talking about.
One of my favorite things of this game though was the emails you would get after each day.
I saw that.
So
yeah, I think I saw that.
I can't remember his name, but your
boss.
Yeah.
Doesn't his wife like email you?
So I found out that I apparently didn't get the loan from the bank, and I have a loan shark after me now. It's like, you fucking idiot. I live under a bridge now. Some animals moved in though.
It is funny, and he'll get mad at you if you don't. Like, there were days where I didn't get any treasure. I didn't do anything because I was making more Pikmin or just screwing around, and he get really mad. You're like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be making me money.
I love.
And the other gimmick in this game is now you have two people you're able to control. You have Olimar from the first game, and then you also have Louis, who's your partner, who's a freaking idiot.
I thought it was his son, honestly.
It would have been cooler if it was his son, not just an idiot. And the whole gimmick with that is that you can, tap X, I think it's X or Y to switch characters, so you can have somebody with your Pikmin. You can control 2 different teams of Pikmin, I never once did anything like that. I would just bring them both together and I never bothered.
I would send one of them without any Pikmin, like in the caves, to the section to bring you to the next cave, and then switch back to the other one, do the cave, and then switch over and just leave.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That would have been bad. So did you ever fight the spider with a Gatling gun?
Yes.
I'm not kidding either. There literally is a spider that he doesn't have a Gatling gun on him, but he opens up, his like mechanical spider, he opens up and shoots at you like he has a gun.
That is not
wild.
something I expected to hear coming onto this podcast.
I didn't see him. I'm watching him now in a video because I never got to him because I gave up on that cave. But yeah, there's a
I thought
spider
you meant
boss.
the spider. Like, because isn't there a spider boss that's not the mechanical one?
Yeah, the one.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I did not know there was a mechanical spider.
Mm-hmm.
But that might also be because of the thing that we talked about where I didn't realize what we thought was the ending of the game was in fact not the ending because these fuckers decided to roll credits like halfway through the game.
Hey, when you roll credits, the game gets turned off.
Which is yet again why I think this was just made for product placement because they're like, we don't give a shit if they finish this game.
Here, I part of me kind of gets that. If they so now I'm playing devil's advocate. What if they thought that what if they thought that this game was going to be so mind-blowing, so amazing that after you complete the game, you're just sitting there wide-mouthed, just
God, I need to go
for
back.
for 5 minutes. For like 5 minutes, just oh my God, that was so good. And then you get more. And then you're so excited because you thought you were done with Pikmin 2. But in fact, you aren't.
I was done.
Half the game to go. Because
it's not half the game.
You think
it's like only a quarter. If that.
Because you have 4
so
areas
excited.
in this game. So you only would unlock, I think, like maybe 5 caves in that last area. And the once credits roll, I call a game because technically that's what I consider beating the game in quotations. So that was good enough. I didn't even want. I was going to because the thing is once you pay off the 10,000 because you get enough treasure throughout the cave, or if you just kill tons and tons of enemies and turn them all into coins, you pay off the debt. You go back to your planet to go and repay the debt, and then as you go back there, Louis ends up not joining you. The guy that's been with you got left behind. You didn't realize when you took your ship off and go, my buddy's not with me, and then you get the boss joins you, and then you go back. Then you get a new area that opens up. And then you go to this new area with your boss.
To try to
find Louis.
Yeah.
What? Can you skip the cutscene or the credits? Can you skip the credits?
Yeah, I didn't try. I accepted it.
I tried. You cannot.
Oh, you can't? Oh, well, that's just Nintendo being an idiot. If you want to pull something like that, you make sure you can skip the credits and skip the credits very easily.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you that don't know, Nintendo's not the smartest.
Well, considering from what I've seen, they can't run proper online servers.
Yeah, God. Well, that's where I'm like, my big thing is like, how did you not figure that out?
Microsoft has been doing that since like 2007.
Earlier than that.
Yeah, how have you figured out
2003, 4?
How have you not figured out how to do a server after 20 years of online servers? How?
Shit.
How like what?
Especially when they have fun games like Mario Party and shit, and you can't even play them together.
You can't find some old burnout dude from Bungie who knows how to set up a server.
Honestly, you could pay him. You could probably find him in a back alley and pay him with a bottle of something in a brown bag. He'd be like, "Yeah, here, let's do this really quick."
Yeah, let's set up this server.
I got another one of those. If you do it within 24 hours, it'll be like, I literally am done already.
It is mind blowing that Nintendo has like their IPs genius. Running their games, they're absolute morons. It's wild. It is insane how they can't run an online game or run like just an ongoing game.
I mean, at this point, it has to be on them though, right? Like they know that they're just like I like to think that they know how to work a server, and they're just like, no. Like,
watch
our people.
Watch it turn out the servers in are like based in Japan. That shit runs like fucking bacon greased ice, and it runs flawlessly.
I'm sure it runs good in there. They just don't. I mean, I don't mess around with anything in Nintendo. I just know when I played Triforce Heroes on DS, it was miserable trying to connect. That's my only experience with their internet.
Mine's just trying to play like Mario games, like Mario Kart and shit. Like it's awful.
So
I remember Smash Brothers being bad.
I have that beautiful pink Switch Lite that I haven't had charged in the past 3 months.
Yep.
I am currently just waiting for the new Samus game to come out, or the new Metroid game to come out, because really, that's all I wanted to use it for, and I can't even play half the Metroid games on this damn thing. So, fuck you, Nintendo. Really. Is what I'm saying.
So one of the bosses that I got to that I want to mention because I had so I went through this dungeon of 9 floors and I'm proud of myself. I'm getting to the end. I get to the final floor and I got like 50 Pikmin with me. I'm like, okay, that's enough Pikmin to get through a boss fight. I looked at it and it was a caterpillar boss that you fight earlier, but you fight him again. But in this one, it spawns little babies. And as I was trying to rush to get to the boss, the little babies kept eating all my Pikmin. And I couldn't get to the boss. And even when I tried to fight them, every time I fought them, they would eat Pikmin. And I didn't have a lot of Pikmin to get through. So I'm like, I can't do this. And I had to leave the dungeon and just give up on that dungeon. I got all the way to the boss. I was pissed.
I spent like 5 minutes.
Yes.
So I spent like 5 minutes just beating, like, I didn't realize they just keep spawning. I thought, like, at some point they would stop spawning the smaller ones. So I just kept throwing Pikmin at the smaller ones. And they don't stop.
No. Eventually, when you get all the way to her and you have killed them all, she'll squish them as they spawn and she rolls back and forth. But not until you get to her.
See, I'm what you would consider big dumb. So that would have never crossed my mind. You don't need to do that.
You can skip all that stuff like that. So, I mean, if you just go for, even if you try to beat this game, because this game has technically three things that make the credits roll. One being we talked about earlier where you pay off 10,000 debt. 2 being where you beat the final boss in quotations where you rescue Louis, which I didn't do. And the 3rd being when you collect 100% of the treasure.
Can't believe you guys didn't rescue Louis. Just absolute. God. I'm heartbroken at that.
He doesn't talk, so I really didn't care.
It's not his fault we're in this mess. Because if you 100% the game and you beat the challenge mode, that's when you find out, you get a little video called Louis' Dark Secret where you find out that Louis ate the golden carrots that he told his boss that got eaten by a rabbit. So you find out it's all Louis' fault that you're in this mess.
Yeah, so you feel stupid now.
So I was like, you know what?
I'm very confident in my comparison that Pikmin 2 is just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm very confident in this comparison.
I'm a big fan of it. It's in the Fallout world.
I am too.
Me too. I like that idea.
Does this mean Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is in the Fallout universe?
No.
No? All right. We're not going to sell.
Well, I mean, actually, if you're really honestly, probably. If you think about how Charlie and the Chocolate Factory works and how a bunch of kids die in there and stuff, and well, also the way he dresses and how charismatic he is and stuff. No, I could definitely see him being a boss in the Fallout games.
we need to pull on the string ourselves, Jeff, on one of our own shows. See how many games we can link to the Fallout universe.
You should.
How many original IPs we can just link to Fallout?
Hold on, I'll put that in our topics real quick.
That's definitely a plastered paladins thing.
And like one of the things that I found interesting, even though like as you're trying to pay off this debt, you don't have to fight all the bosses, because I've been watching a video of all these bosses. I didn't fight almost any of these things because you make enough money if you collect majority of the treasures on the planet, and if you do some of the caves and you get most of the treasures. Like you get a little meter that tells you where treasures are, which was nice. Like one of the bosses is a water wraith, it's called, which looks like a fat guy made out of water that runs around after you destroy his big wheel. I'm not kidding. He rides a little like thing with 2 wheels, and when you break it, he runs around. I'm watching the fight and starts panting, and he gets tired, and you have to throw water Pikmin on him.
I feel like this game is just a fever dream. It's just a fever dream. It has to be.
It's a cute game, but it made me so angry because nothing makes me more upset than spending an hour or so. Or, I mean, dungeons aren't that long. Spending like 20, 30 minutes going through a dungeon to get to the end to find out, well, you lost too many Pikmin on floor 1, or floor 3. So now that you're on floor 7, you can't beat the boss. And that just makes me angry because I want to be like, I want to leave, go get more Pikmin, I'll come back. But no. Supposedly you can. Supposedly the guy that I watching the review of said you can do it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I tried it, so.
Like I said, I would just leave the fucking place. Like, I'm just out. See you guys.
Yeah, there's some There were a few enemies that really pissed me off in this game. Like one is like a crawfish looking thing inside a hole, and you have to bait him to get him to come out in order so you can hurt him. And he ate a lot of my Pikmin. He would grab them and shove them in his hole, and then they wouldn't come back.
I hated when you were like running by like what just looked like a normal flower, then all of a sudden the gigantic blob would come out, jump up, and then just start beating you. And I was like, this is so not necessary.
Or the caterpillars that shoot rocks at you.
Oh my god!
And the rocks don't break when they hit a wall, and they bounce off walls and roll around and just kill Pikmin.
The flying enemies were so stupidly useless in this game. You would literally throw a Pikmin, it would hit them, and they'd be like, ugh, and then all of your Pikmin, like savages, would grab it and hold it on the ground as they beat it to death.
It's like those indigenous tribes that see a drone and just like knock that shit out with a spear. Yes. And it's just, God, you could see the cameras just watching them beat the crap out of it.
Did you ever fight the flying ones that don't grab your Pikmin and grab Olimar and throw his ass down and hurt you?
Yeah. Very
that
annoying.
Pissed me off. Because if you hit A and you tap it enough, you'll get free before. But the one time I'm like, okay, I'll just wait and see what happens. And he body slammed me into the ground. So I was like, man, this game.
Have an actual health bar as Olimar, or do you have like a certain amount of hits? What's it gonna be?
You have a health bar that as you can get armor. As you beat bosses in this game, that's how you get a lot of the upgrades. Like you can get immune to fire. You can take more damage if you get hit. You get stuff like that. Immune to electricity. So you do get stuff by beating the bosses. Like I couldn't be bothered to do it. But
a little bubble that's filled green on the bottom left corner of your screen.
Yes, like Mario 64 kind of.
Yeah. Nick has no idea what that even is. Those words you just said to make
played
no
Mario 64 once. I had a SNES.
I can't say much though. I never beat it.
I had a SNES, so that's the extent of my Nintendo knowledge.
Okay. Well, that's the best system ever, so it's okay.
It really is, honestly. SNES was awesome.
Have you played Chrono Trigger?
No, so I played so much Super Mario Brothers on that, or whatever.
Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers is on All Stars, so you can play that.
Whichever the island one was, Super
Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, that I played way too much of that growing up.
Good game.
Played a lot of Firefox.
You mean Firefox?
Thank you.
Unless you're playing with Mozilla Firefox browser, but I don't know how you would. But I could see it.
No, it's Star Fox. Okay. And then my cousins would bully me on whatever that crappy basketball game was because I kept picking like the '94 Knicks.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Because my name's Nick, and when you're 6, you pick the team called the Knicks, and since it was like the 95 Knicks or whatever, it was just awful. No matter what they played, I just got shit on because they knew they would play the championship team and just beat my ass in it.
That's because the sports games are just not good. I don't like sports games at all. Another thing about Pikmin 2 that they brought over from the first game is that Pikmin, like, they start off as sprouts. They'll have a little leaf above their head, but if you get nectar or if you leave them in the ground long enough, they end up turning into a bud and then a flower, and then they run faster. Except in this game, they can actually lose the flower because there's certain enemies that will blow the flower right off them.
Yep.
That pissed me off, too.
I also felt like the flower didn't help much anyways, so...
They do suck less. Does that count?
Kinda.
They run faster. They run a lot faster than if you don't have the flower on them.
Yeah.
I would always upgrade them as fast as I could to the flower just because they were useless otherwise sometimes.
I don't know. Yeah.
And nectar's so easy to get in this game too.
Yeah, you just like beat up some like plants.
And they're all over the place. And since you don't have a time limit, like day limit, it's easy to just go and do it.
You can also grab those like the super ultra bitter, like the ultra spicy, whatever the fuck those things are that make sprays. You get 2 different sprays in this game. One, which is called like spicy something, which is red, which you get by getting berries you can find in the levels, which will make your Pikmin turn that makes their flower turn red, and they move faster and hit harder. And then you get another one called the bitter spray, which turns your enemy to stone. Yeah, which was wild.
Really good though, by the way.
Yeah,
you ever used it?
You could do it to bosses and shit. Like just walk up, hey, spray. It's stone now.
Well, you can
keep doing it.
What was the shittiest boss you guys had to go against? Was it the centipede?
No, That was one that I didn't beat, but I didn't really try a lot of the bosses. I mostly skipped them.
Yeah, I mean, I did skip a lot of them.
Because you don't have to. You can get enough treasure just by doing whatever. I mean, the hardest boss probably would be the in quotation, the final boss, which I didn't bother because credits roll, and I decided to call the game. So, I mean, if you give me credits, then it just means the extra stuff is just extra stuff. That's how I look at it. Hey, once the credits roll, the credits roll.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm looking at them, but I don't remember half of these. But
Yeah.
I guess I did skip a lot of them.
You don't have to, because even if you just try to get the 10,000, you will get it by doing. I only did maybe 5-6 dungeons tops, and there's out of like 14, 15 dungeons. I didn't even fight all the bosses in those dungeons. I had enough money to finish, more than enough to pay off the 10,000 debt.
Oh yeah, no,
the
definitely
giant
the final boss is definitely difficult. I gave him a try and then I fucked off.
I was going to this morning. I was like, okay, I'm gonna, since I have time, I went to start the dungeon. I'm like, okay, I went and looked at a guide and said, okay, bring this Pikmin, this many. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. In the first room, I lost 5 Pikmin on the first fight, and I'm like, yeah, fuck this, we're done, game's over. I didn't go back, and I will never go back. I wanted to do it, but with the fact that I lost 5 Pikmin in the first room and I have 14 levels to go, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get through this with enough Pikmin to actually beat this boss.
This suddenly seems like it's not my fucking problem.
Okay, we need to talk about the value of the treasures, because some of these are fucking stupid. I found like a diamond, and it was worth like 120, and then I found a shitty looking wood carved statue that was worth 250.
Well, yeah, they have a lot of diamonds on, what's the name of the planet?
Earth.
Oh no, the home planet of
or it's something I don't even know.
Well, we're gonna call it Papo.
Okay.
Diamonds are incredibly convenient and easy to find on Papo. Jeff, do you know how hard it is to find wood? What about an Vlastic pickle jar? That's like the Mona Lisa to them. They don't know graphic design.
I think
They don't know graphic design. You don't need a graphic designer for a fucking lid, Nick. It's a lid.
It's practical art. It's practical neo art.
Oh, there's some dumb shit you get in treasure. You get a strawberry. There's an onion ball. I mean, there are just
There's
such
a lot of
onion, orange, a donut. How that donut is still good, I don't know. Why it isn't a rotten piece of.
You can find a directional pad from a gaming controller, which is just a D-pad.
Yep.
Okay.
And you also get a Bowser matchstick box at one point, which is one match in it. That was cute too. I like the Nintendo references.
There was a literal stick of chapstick, and then like a treasure or two later, you find a container of Carmax chapstick. Yes. And I was like, damn, they really.
But they got both?
Yeah, I was like, damn, they really hitting all of these.
I can't lose if I play both sides.
Blistex.
Surprised Vaseline didn't pop up.
I'm surprised it didn't either. I like the Nintendo. The Nintendo ones to me were really cool. Like there's a Mr. Game & Watch you get.
That makes sense. Like that makes sense to have a little at that point, that's an Easter egg.
Yeah, and that was cute because like the Vlastic pickles. Yeah, and that irritated me because they got paid for it. That's why it's there.
This might have been a tax write-off. Imagine if this was a tax write-off or something. They got paid for product placement and it was a tax write-off. This was the most profitable game for Nintendo in 5 years because they got paid to make it.
I'm looking up how much they made off of Pikmin 2.
I'm curious.
And it was just a massive tax write-off.
I mean, we didn't get Pikmin 3 until the Wii U, so years later after we got this game. So I don't know, they didn't go back to it for a while. Which I'm okay with that fact. But no, we were saying earlier, I wanted to fight the final boss, but I just couldn't get myself to bother because it's a giant spider that you have to throw yellow Pikmin on him constantly to rip off all the parts of his body before you even get to his health bar. Yeah. And I couldn't. I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to make it down here with enough Pikmin to do this.
It's secret, isn't it, Jeff? They don't want to tell you.
They
know how much they made.
Yeah,
they know.
They can't afford to tell you.
They can't let people know that Pikmin 2 is more profitable than Mario 64. They can't. They can't let them know. They can't let the people know.
So Pikmin.
This is my new favorite conspiracy theory. This is it. That Pikmin 2 is what built Nintendo into the company it is today.
Pikmin sold 1.12 million copies, but that's significantly less than Pikmin 1 did. Yeah, it's like Did
you guys see the commercial for Pikmin 2?
There's a commercial?
Oh, it's really weird. It's really wild.
Is this the one where like people dressed up as Pikmin?
Yeah, the midgets.
Why does this sound vaguely familiar?
Because we grew up in, well, I'm assuming you were alive in 2004, unlike the youngin we got over here.
I'm a year younger than
Okay, so no. Yeah,
I just
Google
look
Pikmin
old
2
as shit.
commercial.
In 2004, I would have been 7.
Yeah, because I would have been.
Yeah, I would have been 7. So actually, yeah, I would remember when this game came out.
Maybe this game is a fever dream. The more I think about it, I mean,
Go look up the commercial real quick while we're talking. The first 20 seconds are not even gameplay. It's a guy sitting there eating, and like he said, little midgets running around in Pikmin costumes to go get a guy a hot dog or something, and then they run away.
so the US Pikmin 2 commercial.
Yep.
Yes, it's terrible.
I'll go back and watch it with Jeff just so I can. Yep, that makes sense.
It takes the 30-second commercial. There are 22 seconds of people running around in costumes before you even see gameplay.
I do remember this.
You
It's
do?
terrible.
Yeah.
It is just horrible. It's a
Why does that
nightmare.
look like the two guys who created like Rhapsody and MySpace?
That was wild.
I remember that dude's
Terrible.
voice from all
Wait,
the
hold
game
on.
trailers.
Hold on. How much product placement was there in this commercial?
Done.
No, there isn't any. It's a burger.
Yeah.
You can't tell what he's eating.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah, no
surprised
product
they didn't
placement.
specifically put like a giant package of like Oscar Mayer hot dogs and like ballpark buns, French's yellow mustard. Everyone in this commercial was wearing Skechers.
God, that is just so much. That is just so early 2000. The way those
I
guys
don't
are
even know
dressed.
who made Pikmin, but I just assume that they are the biggest sellouts known to man.
Telling you, man, they essentially made it for free. I'm 100% convinced they made it with the product placement money.
I love
So
how
that's our
we
conspiracy?
barely talked about gameplay, and Nick and I just keep going back to the
it's
fact of how stupid this whole game
It's-
is.
I mean, it shows you how we felt playing this game.
Yeah.
Like, I was so excited to play, as I said before, and I was just so let down by the game because it just didn't do it for me.
Product placement crushed it immediately. That's where I kind of just got like the baseline, like I'm not gonna really enjoy this, am I?
The product placement didn't break me. I mean, I was okay with it. The cave system broke me.
I get like Alan Wake, it was like on billboards or something, or like you would pass by a sign or something in a window. When it is straight up, oh, look at this treasure. Duracell battery, bottle cap from a 7-Up or Dr. Pepper. Like I can't. I
love how it's 7-Up and not Coke or Pepsi. They got the number 3 soda company in the world to be their sponsor.
7-Up is owned by Coke, I think, or
Yeah,
Pepsi.
it's like
all the
tough
pops
one.
you drink or all the sodas are only really owned by 2 different companies.
Yeah.
Pepsi and
7-Up
Coke own
and-
everything.
7-Up and Dr. Pepper have their own specific like branch, but they are owned by, I believe, no, I think it's Pepsi.
Oh,
No,
shit.
God.
7-Up is Pepsi. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of
Yeah, Sprite is Coke.
So Dr. Pepper is its own company. Dr. Pepper Snapple, that's its own company.
No, that's part of 7-Up.
That's
It might have been at one
that's part
time.
of Frito-Lay.
Yeah, and Frito-Lay is owned by someone else,
Yeah.
too.
Buddy, Nick, have you ever seen the meme of all these companies are owned by actually these top 4 companies?
I have.
I think Nick's about to be diving down that hole for a while today.
Son of a bitch, they are owned by fucking Pepsi.
It's all a trick, but yeah, they're all owned by really just one company or so.
Welcome to
That
the
is
Enlightenment, Nick.
wild. Fucking, that is... So Dr. Pepper is made by Coke in Europe, Pepsi in Canada, and it's made by Dr. Pepper Keurig in the U.S. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry, I found what I'm doing for the rest of the night. Mike, you can gladly have your podcast back. My apologies.
Oh man. And okay, another thing I do want to bring up is like I like the different enemies that this game has, where they're all like different like insects or little monsters that exist in this world. They're not there to kill you; they're just there, and you're killing them with their food supply.
Because you're a human.
And you take their bodies back and harvest them.
I will say the game, pretty cute. Pretty cute game.
It is. It just has. I really
Just-
didn't like New Pikmin. If this game only would have had the same 3 from the first game, I would have been happier.
If it makes you feel better, I don't know which ones were in the first one, and I didn't like this game, so
Red, blue, and yellow are in the first game.
okay. I did like the Chonky Boys.
I didn't use the Chonky Boys, the purple Pikmin, and I tried never to use them.
I just threw them and let them just punch things.
Oh, they were good. I just didn't like them. I also didn't like that this game has the caves. Like in Pikmin 1, you're always on the world map and you can see things like, okay, I want to get that tomorrow, and I'll build this bridge today, I'll build this wall today, and then tomorrow I'll go do this. And I like that, where this game is really all about let's go in the caves and let's play a roguelite.
See, I don't mind that. I like roguelites quite a bit, actually. I don't know why, but this game had a lot of factors and things that I don't fucking like in games, which is time limits, even though the time limit didn't matter, which I think makes me hate it more.
Yeah. It's
trying to like manage your resources of your weapons. Hate that. Like not like weapons, but like
your army.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like, oh, I ran all the way over here to this entrance to a dungeon, and I walk up and I have a shit ton of yellow and blue Pikmin, and I realize I need white and red, and I'm like, son of a bitch, and turn around and go get my other one.
That was one of my issues with it too, is that like having to go to a cave and not knowing what you need, and having to go back to the cave with what you need, and then making sure you didn't lose what you needed along the way to the cave.
All while you're on a time limit.
Yeah, like one thing I did realize that this game, like the enemies seemed weaker than in the first game, where your Pikmin were stronger. They didn't die as fast because they have to live longer.
See, yeah, I don't think, other than bosses, I don't think I struggled with like any just normal enemy.
The caterpillars for me were the worst, but they shoot the rocks.
Yeah,
like in the first game, like in this game, they bring back the polytoads, the big toads that jump up and slam down. In the first game, any Pikmin that were on the ground, when that toad smacked, they were all dead. In this game, they don't die. They can take the hit sometimes, and they'll be okay. Like, there's little things I noticed where this game made certain things easier, but then made other things stupidly harder. Like the fact that enemies can take away your bridge that you built it.
They're fucking so stupid.
I'm glad you didn't see that, because you would have been. I was, the first time I saw it, I went to a bridge. I'm like, where's my bridge? And I watched an enemy just taking away the bridge I just got done building the day before, so I could go to this cave. And I had to go back, get water Pikmin, come back and kill the fuckers so I could then build my bridge again.
So oh my god, yeah, I would have had like a brain aneurysm watching that.
The game has a multiplayer too we should talk about, since we covered most of the main stuff. I didn't try it, of course, because I didn't care, but there is a multiplayer to this game.
I'm assuming that's because the first one you were by yourself, and this one there's two of you, so you can play. I'm assuming the first one didn't have multiplayer.
No, it didn't, which is better for it. But this, I mean, it's just a tacked on. It's just there. Like, part of it has a challenge mode that you can do in this game, where you do like certain maps. You only have this amount of Pikmin to do this map to get the treasures. But the multiplayer mode has like a versus mode where you two are in a cave trying to get who gets more treasure. And if you kill enemies, you can help out the other person. But if you leave the enemies, they could, make the other person have to kill them. That's your whole goal, to collect marbles, because marbles are the treasure in the multiplayer.
I also just don't have friends, so I probably never would have played it anyways.
And there was no online, because we talked about earlier, Nintendo don't like online, so especially not in this era. Whew.
I don't think online was even a concept that Nintendo had at this point.
The GameCube has the online ability.
Don't you have to have an attachment in order to attach like a LAN port to it?
Yes, you have to have an adapter. That's expensive as hell now.
I was gonna say that's how like PS2 was. So you had like a network adapter or some shit.
Yeah, I had one. Wait, no, maybe I didn't. Yeah, but there was an adapter that went in the bottom of your game. Would
this have been like a multiplayer compatible game for GameCube? Like, would you have been able to do multiplayer with it?
Split screen, yeah.
I mean, like with the LAN. Nope.
There were only a couple games that use the actual adapter on GameCube. Phantasy Star Online was the main one that I can think of. There weren't many that used the adapter.
Wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge like versus person unless it's like a large group of people, all like a huge free for all. But like just a one-on-one versus, I'm not a huge fan of. So I probably would have hated that game mode too. Man, I really hate a lot of things, and they're all in.
There
this
were
game.
only 7 games that used. Okay, no, let me take that. There's 4 games, and one of them didn't even come out in America. Okay, I lied. There's only 2 games that came out that used it. Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2, which they have on here twice. It's the same game on the same disc. And Phantasy Star Online Episode 3. Those are the only games that use the adapter in America.
That's
so yeah, they didn't use it.
Those are choices.
Mm-hmm. Other games can be hooked up by LAN, like Kirby Air Ride and Mario Kart Double Dash, but cannot go online.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's your fact that you didn't ask for.
I did ask for it, I feel like. This one I did ask for.
And the other thing that I didn't do in this game, there is a challenge mode where you have to, like as I mentioned before, but you have to do it with like so fast and not lose so many Pikmin until you earn like little medals or something. And the medals are, a bud, a flower, a purple flower. I didn't bother with any of those, but I know they exist. So I should mention that they're there.
I don't know. I think the base game's enough.
I mean, for me, like I said, once the credits rolled, and I'm like, and I was done. Even though the game's like, oh, you can go do this other boss fight. Yeah, that's nice. We're done. Game's over. Oh, and there is one treasure that you need 100 chunky boys, the purple Pikmin, to carry it. It's a dumbbell.
Were they anticipating people to just come back and replay this game for like years?
Well, or they weren't expecting us to do it.
That's fair.
No, we're not being very positive on this game at all. I also didn't play the Wii version. I played the GameCube version. The Wii version is a little bit better because you can point with the Wii mode. And I don't know. So if I would have figured out how to go back to a dungeon at whatever floor I left and bring all my Pikmin back to finish a boss fight with 100 Pikmin, I would have been more fond of this game. But since I couldn't figure that out, I didn't try that hard. But since I didn't figure it out, it made the game irritate me more. So there's that too.
I don't know. For me, I don't know. I think maybe if there weren't so many different kinds of Pikmin and like levels of those Pikmin, of them being just like only having a leaf or being a bud or being a flower, and like I think I would have liked it like a little bit more simplistic, even though it's a pretty basic game. But
yeah,
having 5 different types of Pikmin, trying to figure out which ones and how many you need to bring to each dungeon, but you can't tell until you get to the dungeon you're about to go in, is really annoying.
Yeah, you should be able to like just pull up your menu and look, and I don't think you can.
Yeah, I never found that, at least.
My biggest issue with the cave is that if I could have took the enemies that I killed and plant them in the cave and get more Pikmin right there, I would have been happier. I didn't like the fact that it just turns into random little coins. Yeah. Because when you get 100 for a treasure and you get 2 for a guy you kill, it makes it irrelevant. It's like this item costs $10 and you're making pennies on it. Like it's irrelevant in the end. That's how it felt. And that was one of my problems with it.
The dungeons were like well lit. Like I understand like the ambiance and blah blah blah, but like just light up the whole damn screen.
Did you ever do the one that looks like a little kid's playroom?
Yeah.
Ballback's kitchen or one of the kitchens. Yeah.
Yeah, that would confuse the hell out of me when I got there.
It looks like you're in like there's little toy trains and stuff, and you're fighting bread bugs, which looks like a loaf of bread with a bug head, and they run around and steal your treasures, and you can't kill them easily. Like you fight a boss, which is a giant bread bug, and you have to throw the chunky boys on him to even hurt him. That pissed me the hell off. I got so angry in that dungeon.
Yeah, I got angry in a lot of dungeons. I'll put that out there.
Same.
Especially when like, because it doesn't. Maybe I just didn't see it. It doesn't tell you how many floors they are, right? Like just
not unless you're using the internet. No.
Yeah. So I would like just be okay. I'll go through this dungeon. Then, like you said, like it could be anywhere from like 4 levels to like 15. Like what the fuck?
And there's some really hard ones. Like, and as I've been watching videos of this game, like some people just use Olimar and hit A to headbutt things and kill things that way, which is ridiculously slow. I mean, you can do it, but it's so slow.
That's kind of what I'm picking up. Is like it's either too rudimentary or it's just slow. It's like there's only 2 speeds. It's either
you can like, but the thing is, you could beat this game in like what, maybe 5-6 hours.
Yeah, it's not
less.
If you know what you're doing, it's not a long game.
So it would take me probably 20.
You are dumb as shit, so probably.
Yeah.
You probably just quit playing. I mean, I'm assuming you wouldn't stick with this game because it's not. It doesn't do a good job. Like there were times when I did have a lot of fun playing this game, but overall, there were a lot of times where I just wasn't enjoying myself. Where like I would be having fun, but then the dungeon would just kick my ass or something. Something could go. I mean, I was playing with save states, but there were times when something simple could go really bad, really fast. Like you could get into an enemy encounter, it just goes terribly. Because since I was playing with save states, I could reload and retry something, and sometimes just a little bit differently. I could go with no kills, or I could lose 20, 30 Pikmin. And when you're in a dungeon, you only have 130. The whole thing about Pikmin is that they're powerful in numbers. When you have no numbers, they're not the strongest little things.
Yeah.
They're kind of weak. I mean, because their whole idea is that they're in numbers, when they gang up on something, they just rip it apart because there's so many of them. But when there's only like 5 or 10 of them, they're useless as hell.
It is kind of rough sometimes when you're running around and you can't like see half the things because you just have 100 Pikmin around you at all times.
And I didn't like the fact that bosses were always at the end of a cave, like in the first game where bosses were just there, where you would just find them in the world.
Yeah.
That was more fun to me. you would just go somewhere and then you would be in their den.
Honestly, just take away dungeons. I think you have a pretty good game.
Pikmin 3 takes them away, by the way.
Yeah, good. Actually, JK, Pikmin 3 is all in one dungeon. 100 floors.
I mean, there are dungeons in 3, I should say, but they're not like this game where they're just a bunch of them. They're randomly generated. They're like the dungeons are just certain things that you do.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be much. Like I will play Pikmin 3 someday on the show, no time soon, but someday, just because I do want to try it.
I will veto playing that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll gladly come back, but I'm not playing Pikmin anymore.
Don't worry, it'll be a long fucking time
He's
before.
just completely done with Pikmin.
Oh, and one of do you remember that Stone Guardian guy that you fought in one of the caves that grabs your Pikmin and replants them? Did you ever fight him? He's a boss from the first game too. They reused him. Now there's a ton of them.
God, what are they? EA making Madden games? You guys ever see that one? When Madden 21 came out, everyone was like, God, Madden's just like the same thing every year. And someone's like, oh, you don't say. And they were in the game and they paused it and took a picture and zoomed in. They didn't have to zoom in very far. You could read it from the base one. Up on like the stadium where like the lights are, where like the score would be, like where they always just have product placement or whatever. It said Madden 19 and it's Madden 21 that you're playing.
That's fine. I'm not surprised. It's EA.
No, I'm not either.
EA is lazy as shit.
Yeah, this is one of those companies. Anytime I'm like, oh great, EA, Activision, both of them are just like bleh.
Oh, I've washed my hands of Activision like last week.
Oh yeah, they proved how.
Well,
yeah,
I got rid of everything.
Yeah,
I dumped Blizzard and Activision last week, which sucks because I really want to play Warzone, but it's
Got to make it stand somewhere.
Yep.
And,
all right. Any last things you guys want to say about Pikmin 2 before we read the couple questions I have or comments?
I mean this in the nicest way possible. I am so happy I didn't spend 5 hours playing this game.
No, that's okay. That's not.
I am incredibly happy. I'm actually kind of upset. I watched a 20-minute video about it.
Don't be. You experienced it the right way.
In 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So I posted this in a few different groups. I got mostly no comments, and now I understand why. One of the few comments I got from the Nintendo GameCube enthusiasts I got from Quentin Bridgewater. Mass genocide is the name of the game.
Huh. It's a hot take for a kids game based in 2004.
I don't know if I'd say hot take. I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Because you do kind of make them like your slaves.
Yeah.
And then just throw them to do your battles. Like, I can see it.
Are they sentient?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
I mean,
that's bad.
I'm just throwing random vegetable bulbs at things and it bounces off their forehead and kills them.
Oh. I mean,
They
the whole
can't
idea is that you landed on this planet and they met you, and since you rescued them, they become your
their
debt,
god.
I guess.
Become their god.
Yeah, but and you kill them.
Yeah, you use them for fighting. You started a fight club with them.
Yeah.
Taking care of them, you use them to fight your battles.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And you murder things all the time.
And they love it.
Maybe I would like this game.
If you view it that way, maybe.
Play Pikmin 1. Don't play this game. Play Pikmin 1.
I'm more likely to play Pikmin 3.
Probably play that. From what I heard, Pikmin 3 looks really good and sounds good. I'm not so sure about Pikmin 1. I mean, I'm not sure. I just don't like Pikmin 2 right now. I also don't like a game when it shows me credits, but it isn't really like done. Because once you give me credits, that means I beat the game.
You guys are just stuck on that.
It's
So hard.
I will not. I legitimately thought that was the end of the game.
It was for me.
Wait, Pikmin 3 came out in 2020.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe came out in 2020 on the Switch when
I
I
was
recorded it
about
from the
to
Wii U.
say, that's wild. Oh, hey, I can actually play that one.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
just
that one's on the Switch,
recently
yep.
did the thing that Nintendo loves to do and re-releases stuff for full price.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It does look good, though.
No, Pikmin 3 I've heard good things about. Well, I mean, I heard good things about this one, but it will be a while, but I will play Pikmin 3 someday on this show.
Pikmin 3 was...
Because I've been watching videos of it too.
2013?
Yeah, sounds about right. They take their sweet time. Like, they released Pikmin 1 and 2 kind of close together.
Well, the reason that confused me was they announced Pikmin 3 on July 16, 2018 for the Wii console, later stating at E3 2011 that it had transitioned to the Wii U. and it was released in 2013.
I think someone in Nintendo might be playing with the time stream a little bit. I think someone went on a joyride with the. I like the Loki reference. Someone went on a joyride with the time machine at Nintendo. Didn't tell their boss and had a hell of a weekend.
I mean, yeah, that's completely. I mean, someone needs to fix Wikipedia, but yeah, they probably meant the Nintendo Switch version was announced, not because this game came out for Wii U. I mean, the first game is Pikmin 1 was a launch title for GameCube, and then Pikmin 2 was 2004, and then we didn't get Pikmin 3 till like 2013 or 2014. You just said
that's
so,
wild.
So why?
That was the launch title for GameCube because GameCube was a really good console, and
Pikmin 1's a good game. I really enjoyed Pikmin 1.
Oh, are you saying okay? Pikmin 1 was the launch title.
Yes.
I thought you said
they released 2 and then 1. What?
No, I didn't hear.
You got quiet all of a sudden.
I'm just disappointed in Nick.
I'm wallowing in
this
my
game.
own shame.
I'm disappointed in everything about this conversation, honestly.
All right. I think we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And we should start with the guy that didn't play this game that came on the show. We found out about coming on the show today. So Nick, where would you put this game? Shelf means something you really like. Stack means something you're kind of like, okay, it was fun, but I'm not sure. Or box means something you disliked. What is your opinion from your 20-minute video?
I would put Pikmin 2 in this very special box that goes on my curb every week. And I would leave it there. And I would ask them to not just take the contents of the box, but just take the entire box and never come back to my house. I will never play this game.
We didn't sell it?
Shockingly,
Damn, we tried really hard.
Hour-long conversation of you guys telling me you hated how it rolled the credits in the middle of the game did not sell me on this game. Shockingly.
Wild.
Color me surprised.
I mean, it's like you play a Mario game and you get to the castle and Peach isn't there and the credits just roll. And they're like, oh, well, she's in our castle, but we beat the game. It's good. You can wait till later to finish that final castle.
Imagine if that's how Super Mario did it instead of Princess Peach getting captured every game. It's just you never find her.
So I'm a big... Here's another idea about the conspiracy about Pikmin and Nintendo. Sony just fucked up the editing and accidentally put the credits in the middle. The credits should have been at the end. Sony just really fucked up in the editing.
Where's Sony come from in this?
Did I say Sony?
You said Sony.
Or did I say Sony? I said Sony?
Multiple times.
Oh, I definitely meant... I might have said somebody. I don't know. I don't remember what I've said in the past 5 seconds. So.
That's the great thing about recording. I can play it back for you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I meant Nintendo.
Okay.
Someone in Nintendo decided to fuck up the editing process, and now this joke's no longer funny because I'm an idiot. So
well, I'll try. So Adam, so what did you think of Shelf Stacker Box for this?
Let me call him and find out.
Okay. Oh, your name's not Adam? Oh, I could have sworn I was talking to Adam. Wow. So Jeff, what did you think? I had to. I'm sorry.
Oh man. This is the game that I would practice throwing discs with. Like it's a disc that I would like just throw around until it shattered or like hit it with a I don't know, something I would do something stupid with. Like I'd throw it at Nick. Something like that.
That's up.
No, it's but if that's not an option, I guess it's going in the box.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go last. I think it's obvious at this point. It's also going to go in the box, which really upset me. Like I did have some fun parts with this game, and there were times when I was excited to go home and play it. Didn't want to put it down, but overall, like I was just frustrated with the game. Like the dungeons frustrated me, and I wasn't having a great time with it. I didn't like the new Pikmin just because I think 3 was a magic number for me, and then when you add 2 more. Especially one that you can only reproduce by going in certain caves or any cave and finding flowers to reproduce them, bothered me because you can never get a whole lot of them. Where the red, blue, and yellow you can just spawn to your heart's content, and that bothered me. Like I like a game where I can spawn. Or, in this type of game, I want to be able to make more, and more of my men not have to only do a certain thing to get my men, and I didn't like that. So that kind of bugged me too.
I will say the dialogue and character interactions were pretty okay. Like they were kind of entertaining. Yeah, they did make me chuckle a couple times. So I will give it that. When you asked and I just looked at the game, it looked like something I would enjoy, and I was really looking forward to it. But yeah, it didn't last
Yeah, I had very high anticipation for this game. Like, I've been really excited to play this game. I've been looking forward to it for months since I put it on the show, and it didn't do any of that for me. Like, one reason why I got you for it, I'm like, hey, Pikmin 1 was great. I had a great time. Pikmin 2, I heard only better things about, and I just had a terrible experience with the game. And not even the whole credit joke that we've been making in here. Just the dungeons for me, where it feels like a challenge room, took away part of what I loved about the first game.
Well, I watched a playthrough of like the ending part of the game, and it just didn't look like it got better.
It looks hard, and this game is hard. Like, that's another
long,
thing.
Like overly long. To go back and find Louis, you have to go through like what, 4 or 5 dungeons in there.
Just one.
Is it one?
It's just one. It's the last one, but it's a 14-floor dungeon.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and I tried it, and I got massacred, and I didn't get massacred, but I lost a lot of Pikmin in the first floor. When I wasn't even going for treasure, I was just going to go through it, get what I need to do, and leave, and that's what turned me off. And yeah, so this game's going in the box, and I have no plan to play this game ever again in my life.
I wouldn't be against playing Pikmin 3 on the Switch. I might actually look into trying it. It looked good. Like, the pictures actually, like the graphics and stuff looked pretty good.
It got rid of the random generation dungeons. It goes back to having a time limit where your days actually matter. So again, this game got great reviews. I think we just all three, well, 2 of us just had a bad experience. The other guy just heard all about it. So, people do like it.
He's not even here.
No.
He's
but if you do want to hear positive about Pikmin, go check out episode 36. We covered the first Pikmin with not this crew. And you can hear that was back in 2019. September 16th when I did that one. But yeah, a lot of people like that episode, and that's why we did this, why I wanted to do this one, because that episode did good.
Well, fun fact, you didn't enjoy the game, and no one's going to like this episode. So
Not that I enjoyed the game, no. But the fact that nobody replied, like, I went out and I was trying to get another guest for this show for weeks, and nobody would answer me. Like, nobody even gave me, normally when I have done some really, like, deep cut games on this show, I get more comments than I got for this game. Like, nobody talk to me about this game. So I'm thinking this is one of the ones where people just stay away from.
They're trying to pretend it doesn't exist and move on with their lives.
Well, if with Nick's hot take that I 100% back up of it being in the Fallout universe, you might be getting some extra clicks.
You might be getting some interesting emails as well.
You can email us at gamesmymomfound@yahoo.com, but I never look, but you're welcome to send me an email. But it's there. I really should look at that one day. Huh?
That's like us telling people that we don't care what you say, but definitely try to contact us on Twitter or like on social media. But be prepared. If you send us some hate stuff, we will rip you apart.
we at You Hate to See It love hate mail.
Yes, we do.
So now and I should introduce what we're talking about next week, because we're at that point. Next week, we're going to be covering a better game than this. Mega Man X3 is going to be on the show next week. I am finally going to finish the SNES trilogy of Mega Man X1, 2, and 3, which we've done on the show. So you can hear us all talk about X3 and see what we think. Should be interesting. It's been a while since we covered X2. And since you guys are our guest, where can people find you two at?
All right, so we have a link tree, but I can't remember the exact link for the link tree, but you can find us on social media anywhere at You Hate to See It. Specifically on Twitter, that is at YOUH82CIT. And then you can find our podcast, You Hate to See It, anywhere that you can find podcasts. We do bi-weekly, so 1 week it is just our normal podcast of us three drunkenly talking about any topics. And then in between those weeks, we have a true crime podcast where we just break down any true crime that we have researched for that week.
Also drunkenly.
Also very drunkenly. And we do great psychological breakdowns on why people are pieces of garbage. It's pretty great.
Yes.
You got my attention. I need to come on that.
Give it a listen. We're gonna start opening it up to having guests on it, so
you guys know where to find me.
I fucking hope so.
And you will see a link in the show notes to their podcast. You Hate to See It, so definitely check that out. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy, Bill Tucker, who's on the show for the MCU part of the show. He launched his podcast for this year. Gamer Looks at 40, so definitely go check him out. And as I said at the top of the show, we do have a Patreon. For as little as $1, you can go on to our Patreon and vote in our anime poll to decide what we're going to watch for pilot test show coming up next month. Each month we do a poll. You can always go vote. So as little as $1 helps out the show, and you get to vote and decide if we watch garbage or something good, because I put a little bit of both whenever I do these polls to see if people want to be nice or not to us. So far, not many people vote, and they've been nice, so worked out.
This is why we don't allow our people to vote. This is a dictatorship.
Shockingly, this might shock you. The fans of Games by My Found are a lot nicer than the fans if you hate to see it.
I can believe that.
Yeah. Well, we know a lot of them, and they're a lot like us. So,
alcoholics.
Yes. Jeff, how many beers did you drink tonight?
2.
Okay.
I got a giant jug of water. Does that count?
If it's filled with beers, yes.
I'm out of beer. Actually, I forgot to go grab some today, so no beer for me today, unfortunately. All right, and a couple last things I need to say is I want to give a shout to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bubby, a.k.a. Mike Stoney from ZP Bite the Bullet, Song to Cool Kid Squad. You will see a link in the show notes to his YouTube channel, so definitely go check him out. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. We are on YouTube. There is no video content, but if you want to listen to us, we're on YouTube. And you subscribe and make me happy when I see the little subscribe button go higher. So please go do that if it's your first time listening to the show and you don't hate us. Because normally we're positive about games that you like from your childhood, not shit on it like we did.
This is what happens when you bring 2 overall depressed drunks. We get sad.
We don't like the games we play every day.
Yeah, that's true. We're League of Legends fans, so
we don't like the game we play.
That's how you're supposed to play League of Legends, right? You hate it?
You're supposed to. Well, we haven't played in quite a while.
I've played quite a bit recently. It's so much. It's so.
I'm
bad.
at the point where I might be able to uninstall it and never go back to it. Like it's been a while since I played, and I'm pretty happy about it. But I also don't know what the fuck to play anymore. So.
Oh, and before we end the show, I did find all the product placement in Pikmin 2. If you guys, I can go over all the different brands. There's a 7-Up soda can, an A&W bottle cap, a tin of Beach Cliff sardines, jar of Brestheimer honey, Carmax lip, tube of chapstick, a container of Clabber Girl baking powder, something in Europe, a Cotton Bowl sardine can, whatever the hell that is, a Danon yogurt bottle cap, a Dr. Pepper soda cap, a Duracell battery, a C Duracell battery, a 9-volt Duracell battery, a AA Duracell battery, a French mustard jar cap, a Fristy bottle cap, a Haribo switch pack, a Hosta container of herring and tomato sauce, a Kiwi shoe polish container, a Mirachu Nitro baby clam container.
Why are there so many like seafood, like preserved seafood things?
Some stuff is just in Europe and some stuff is just in the US, depending on they change stuff, depending on where this came out, so that wouldn't mean anything to you. So they can make money off it. There's Yoo-Hoo bottle caps. There's a treetop apple juice, treetop bottle cap, a container of Underwood devil ham. That's what I mentioned earlier, but couldn't remember what the hell it was called. A Vitamins bottle cap, a Vlasic pickle jar, a Wilson tennis ball tube cap, a Ragu pasta sauce cap.
Jesus Christ.
And then there's another brand of batteries too, which I never heard of, but they also have in here.
That's the second battery brand I was thinking of earlier that I couldn't remember.
A National High Top C battery. I don't know that brand though.
That's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Not Energizer, not Railvac, not the ones that I know. I'm not sure what National is.
I don't know if you caught on to this, but Nick's lying to you right now.
Oh, okay. I did not catch on to that. But
absolute piece of shit comes on your show and disrespects you like this.
It's okay. I made him read a Green Arrow comic last time he came on the show. So then this time I make him talk about Pikmin too. So yeah, it's even, I guess.
I can't wait till you make me come back and read like the shittiest Spawn comic.
Oh, I will. I have to read it too. That is not happening. So. All right, I think I should end this. I think that's all that we need to say. And hey, we actually added more after the plug, which I don't normally do, but that's what happens. I don't know if it was worth it to hear me read off a bunch of random shit that was in there, but hey. All right. So I will see you next week, and you will see these guys someday again. So you can go find them on You Hate to See It. So thank you both for coming and joining me, especially on short notice.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Thank you. It was fun.
And I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.